Hey there, welcome to the shack. It's the music room. This video is a bit of an update on that, and also I want to talk a little bit about crazy compilation collecting. Here we go. For those of you who are finding this video out of the blue and haven't watched my channel, I have done videos over the years individually on all of the equipment in here that you see. But I did do a whole bunch of videos when I put this room together at the end of last year, and it's been a while since I talked about it, and there has been some changes. So first, let's look at this rack over here. You'll see that the Tascam CD recorder still resides here. It's an RW900 Mark II, and that is hooked up digitally to this lovely unit below, which is a Sony 5-disc CD changer from about 2003 or so. This is a CDP CE275, one of my favorite machines. Has an excellent sounding DAC. The output of this machine, the optical output, goes to the CD recorder, and the CD recorder has a Burr Brown DAC in it, which is very high quality, and these two machines sound almost identical, so lots of fun indeed. Below, you will see the Sony STR DH190 receiver. This has Bluetooth, it has an FM radio built into it, and it has 5 analog inputs, plus a phono input. It is a very versatile little amplifier, and it does about 100 watts per channel, which I am using to drive 2 sets of speakers these days. The one on top, that is a Polk ES15. It's a very interesting speaker. And below that, these are old speakers I've had for years. They are Sony B3000s. I was going to dump a whole lot of money into getting new speakers for this room because I wasn't liking what I was hearing. You may recall that I just had the Sonys up on the stands, and I was trying to figure out what I was going to do, and I ran across these Polk speakers, and I was intrigued, and they were on sale, so I bought them Christmas week, and they showed up, and I stacked them on top of these speakers, and I run them together, and while neither speaker is stellar, they're not bad, but they're not great, put them both together, and you get some really good sound. I'm not a big fan of subwoofers. I like discrete left and right, and this seems to be working, so it's holding me off from dumping more money into speakers, at least for a while. That's a nice trick to try. If you don't like what you're hearing, get an extra set of cheap speakers and drive them in parallel. You may be quite surprised. Okay, let's take the covers off the turntables. If you want to keep your acrylic tops in good shape, this is the way to do it, boys and girls. And the turntables, this is a Fluence RT85, and it has an Audio-Technica AT-VM 540ml cartridge on it, which I do love. I have a whole series of videos about AT cartridges. This turntable is a dual CS618Q direct drive, and it has an Audio-Technica cartridge on here as well. It is a VM510CB, which has a conical 0.7 mil stylus that I use for playing 45s and old mono LPs. And to tell you the truth, I'm kind of leaning toward using this turntable for everything these days because I really like the sound. But having the super high-end, super detailed stylus on this one works out well too. Both of these machines are quartz lock, even though this one is belt drive and this one is direct drive, and they both perform beautifully. The CD collection remains the same, with a few additions, actually. Yes, I still buy CDs, y'all. I like them. And then we have our computer here. I will be uploading this video to YouTube on this machine when I am done with it. This is here, just so I have a computer in the room, and also I use it to Bluetooth audio into the Sony amplifier. And that Sony is dirt cheap. And I don't know how long they're going to keep making it, but I'm going to tell you something. That thing has surprised me. I bought it to do a video about it. It's been years ago now, and I've held on to it. It's a great little amplifier. Anyway, I digress. So that's what this old Dell computer is in here for. This is, what, 2014? It's an Inspiron. I forget the model number. You don't want one anyway. It's running Ubuntu, by the way. And it will be upgraded to Ubuntu 24.04 when it comes around. We'll do an in-place upgrade and see how that goes. All right, let's talk about records now, because that's the real reason I wanted to put up this video. You see, I have this thing about compilations. I love them. And I've liked them ever since I was a kid. And there's a few here that I want to talk about specifically, but these are basically all the ones that I have on LPs since I started collecting again. But if you will pan over here and we'll look behind the computer, matter of fact, I just closed the lid here, you'll see that there is a ZZ Top collection right there. It's all of the ZZ Top albums in the box set there. And after that, there's a whole bunch of movie soundtracks, and then all of this going all the way out here and picking up on the bottom shelf, which lives behind the Foot Lockers the 45s live in. That's all compilations. So yeah, I got a thing about compilation CDs. I have the whole, or a big chunk of the Billboard top hits there. Just tons of stuff. So before CDs were the thing, I used to come across these. And here's one that I bought at a yard sale. This is actually a whole bunch of records here. I think it's like 9 LPs in here, or 10, and it is original hits of the 50s and 60s. Some of them are not original. They are re-records. You have to watch out for that. That's when a artist, for whatever reason, re-records a song that they had a hit on another record company. Usually they do that for money, and it sucks. And the second version is usually not so good. Found this at a thrift store for $1. Some of them are pretty good, though. Here's another one of those. Now, this is one that I didn't have when I was a kid. I wanted it, though, but I just never got around to getting it. This is the All-Nighter, which was put out by Sessions in the 80s. This came out 85, 86. I think it's 86. And it looks like the poster that you'd see in a theater for a John Hughes movie on the cover there, doesn't it? This is all current hits of the 80s. There's some stuff that goes back to the 60s and 70s. It's kind of a party compilation, and it's pretty cool. And then we have another Sessions compilation here. This is Summertime Gold. I actually bought this one new, still in the wrapper, and this is from 1984, and this is all 60s, 70s, 50s, 60s, and 70s rock oldies music. There's some very interesting mixes on here, which is part of the reason why I love these things. We're getting ahead of ourselves. This one is one that I just bought, and I paid a lot of money for it. These compilations, by the way, used to be sold on the radio and TV, and there was a show that I really liked when I was in high school called Super Gold. It ran for years and years and years with Mike Harvey. It was kind of a national oldies show on Saturday night. He was selling this, and that would have been 85. And I remember hearing about it, and I bought it. And, of course, then I gave away all my records in 1993 because I was dumb, and I lost it. When I started collecting records again, I wanted it back. And here's the thing. I forgot what it was called. Couldn't remember the name of it. It came to me about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I was just sitting there looking at something else, and I finally remembered the name of it. I said, it's called Solid Gold Party Rock. And I went on Discogs, and I found it. And then I found a new one, a new one in the plastic. So that's very cool indeed. Here's another one. This is Mellow Gold. This was another one of these Sessions things, Sessions records. 3-record set. This is all mellow mood music from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. I loved this thing. I picked it up at a yard sale when I was a kid, still in high school. We're gonna loop back around to that in just a second because I got something to show you. I don't know whether this is a compilation or not, but it's a record that I haven't featured in a long time in any of these kind of videos. 90 Minutes with Arthur Fiedler. This was put out by Radio Shack in the early 80s, and it's 90 minutes on a single record. Here's a movie soundtrack from the 80s that has a lot of great songs on it, and this is Good Morning Vietnam. That's also a good source. It's about Adrian Cronauer, who worked at Armed Forces Radio in Saigon during the Vietnam War. Adrian Cronauer was a very real person, and he ended up in Roanoke, and he owned an ad agency there for many years. And I used to work in that market very close to that area, and I knew the fella who had bought the ad agency from Adrian Cronauer and was continuing to run it. I never met Adrian, but I heard some stories. Big Chill soundtrack, these kind of things. How about K-Tel? Whenever you start talking about compilations, people talk about K-Tel. Well, K-Tel, usually the quality was pretty bad because what they like to do is put, this is 2 LPs if you see here, and we got like 10 songs on each side. So not a lot of audio quality went into that. They had to take out a lot of the bass and watch the levels and compress things, and their source material wasn't always that great. As a matter of fact, Bad Blood is on here by Neil Sedaka and Elton John, and it's in mono, which is unbelievable. I don't know where they got it from. I have the original 45 over here in one of these footlockers, and it's definitely in stereo. And here's kind of a cool record. This was one that was put out to benefit cancer research. It's called Gold and Platinum, and has a lot of artists that donated songs here. The proceeds from this went to cancer research, and that was something that came from a thrift store as well. And before we close up the vid, I'm going to show you what I just got. Mellow Gold. Wait a minute, didn't we see this over here? Yes, we did, but you will notice this copy is very worn. I picked this up when I first started collecting records. Somebody had it on eBay, and this one is well loved, and I've played it to death through the years. And when I found the Solid Gold Party Rock, I thought, I wonder if I could get lucky and find a new one of these, and I did. I paid a lot of money for these, boys and girls. I paid $50 for that. Don't tell anybody. And for this, I paid like $36. And look, it's still in the plastic. I haven't taken it out. I'm going to do that after I do the video here. Actually, I'll give you the satisfaction. I will unwrap this with one hand on camera. Okay, I will do this. So this came out in 1976. This could have been in this wrap in a warehouse somewhere since 1976, and I am unwrapping it. I am defiling it. It is now losing a great deal of its value. I'm not even doing it well. Hold on, I can't do it. Let's see if I can figure out a way to do. Okay, hold on. There we go. I was going to have to pause it, put the thing down. All right, let's see. We'll get it out of here. There we go. And then we have, the records are already trying to fall out. Let's see if we can get one out here. All of their goodness. So this was a collection that I found at a yard sale when I was a kid. And even though the one I had back then was used, it was in good enough condition that some of these tunes ended up on the radio. Because I would get to the radio station I was working at, sometimes we needed some of these old tunes, and the CD versions were not available. Also, what's interesting about these, especially the ones that were Warner Special products, okay, they are very high quality indeed, and the records themselves, and they got some very interesting mixes of things, which is one of the reasons that I like them. These were in stereo, and the Cruisin' collection over here, or rather, there's one called Cruisin'. I'm debating whether I want to buy that one or not. The Summertime Gold collection and this one, there are some mixes, stereo mixes of old songs from the 50s and 60s that you don't hear anymore, because when CDs came along, they either went back to mono or they had some other mix that doesn't sound the same. So that makes it very interesting. Well, anyway, these records I had when I started working in radio, and these ended up being put on tape, cartridges, and put on the air. So I am very anxious to hear this in an unsullied state, the way it was originally intended to be heard. I will be listening to that while I'm uploading this video. So yeah, that's what I wanted to show you guys. Thank you for watching the vid. I'm alive and well. I'm doing fine. Yes, there was a Linux video that went up about upgrading to the latest Linux Mint that was up for about 5 minutes, and then I took it down because I made so many mistakes in that video that I just could not leave it up on YouTube. The comment section, you guys would have thought that I was drunk or something. I don't know what was the matter with me. I was doing the video, and every time that I saw the year 2027, I said 2017. I didn't do it once. I did it 5, 6, 7, 8 times, man. And I went, okay, I can't leave that up. So anyway, this is the music room. This is the state that we're in. Very much enjoying this for those of you who have been following along. And I'm thinking I'm going to call this place Nowhere Land, because that's what it feels like when I'm in here. I don't have a clock on the wall. I don't know what time it is. If I don't bring a phone in here, I have no idea what's going on. I have to fire up the computer to see what time it is. And it also reminds me of remember from the Beatles' Yellow Submarine? What was his name? Jeremy. The Nowhere Man. He's a real nowhere man living in his nowhere land. That's kind of me, man. Living in my time warp. Thank you for watching. Talk to you guys again soon.